We are better together. Community action has the power to bring real change. Often it takes just one person or a small group to get things started, but the results can be huge and it can be fun too. Welcome to Echo Africa. I'm Malama Mukonde in Lusaka, Zambia, and I'm joined from Lagos, Nigeria by my co-host, Chris Elems.
Thank you and hello everyone. It's great to have you along. We have some fantastic stories for you today. Here is a quick taste. We'll visit the women in Senegal who are reviving an age-old craft, making money and benefiting the land. We'll see how an inventor in Mali has found a way to feed livestock and improve community relations at the same time. And we'll learn how a mix of high-tech and citizens' action is fighting wildfires in Tunisia. Now to one of Uganda's most beautiful locations, Lake Bunyonyi. It's a wonder of nature and popular with tourists. The lake and its islands support over 200 bird species. But sadly, this paradise is under pressure. So the head of the unusual local school is taking action.
On a misty morning in western Uganda, a group of school children are ferried across the still waters of Lake Bunyonyi. They make this journey every day to reach Bwama Primary and Lake Bunyonyi Secondary Schools, both located on one of the lake's 29 islands. This morning, the secondary school students have a special session with the head teacher in what is more of a motivational talk.
You become responsible. Being aware of how we should keep our environment clean with the skills of improved agriculture.
Due to the lake's unique ecological conditions, including the low oxygen levels, there's no viable commercial fishing here. Agriculture remains the primary livelihood, but this puts growing pressure on the lake's fragile ecosystem. While nearby hillsides are being deforested, pesticides and chemical fertilizers used on the resulting farmland are then washed into the lake by rainfall. Head teacher Nicholas Kajumba wants his students to be the front line of change. Today's lesson explores an innovative kind of fertilizer, human urine, which is a natural source of nitrogen, phosphorus, and other nutrients.
Prolonged use of artificial fertilizers, reduced soil exhaustion, poor crop yield, so it's bad. If I'm comparing, natural fertilizers is good, quite good.
The headmaster is especially proud of one former student and member of the school's environment and agriculture club. Dickens Mbabazi went on to start a small mushroom project, turning discarded plastic into growing containers, giving waste a new purpose. And using livestock waste products for compositing and natural manure, he sets an example for other farmers to adopt organic and sustainable practices.
I found that it's very difficult for me to tell my fellow community members to do what I'm telling them, yet I'm not practicing it. So when they are seeing me practicing, they can also do it rather than just telling them.
Covering an area of about 60 square kilometers, Lake Bunyonyi was formed nearly 10,000 years ago, when volcanic lava blocked the flow of a river valley. Over time, locals have not only cut down large areas of forest, they have turned wetlands that regulated water flow into farmland. Many of the farmers want state compensation before they move elsewhere.
We need the president to intervene and make a firm decision. Otherwise, we cannot just leave our land.
For over a decade, conservationists have called for Lake Bunyonyi to be named a Ramsar Site, a designation for wetlands of international importance. It is a vital refuge for biodiversity and home to endangered species like Uganda's national bird, the grey-crowned crane.
We have lost 85% of the grey-crowned crane in the last 40 years in Uganda. So if you remove one species, you cause the collapse of the other ecosystem services. That's why in conservation, we conserve ecosystems.
But Nicholas Kajumba isn't waiting for the rest of the world to act. The headmasters set up a partnership with Silas Nomwesigwa, a local ecotourism pioneer. Nomwesigwa runs a luxury lodge and reinvests profits in environmental and community projects. He also built the school's eco-sun toilet, a water-saving sanitation system that separates urine and solid waste, turning it into compost and fertilizer. And on the lodge's grounds, he grows crops and keeps bees, producing food and honey for his guests.
We had to put much more like a demo farm that people can see it, they can learn from it. And not only that, but they can touch and feel it. You know, when you just, theory in most cases does not actually work.
Back at the school, some of the food for the students' meals comes from the gardens they themselves help to tend. So they see the full cycle, from food to waste, waste to garden, and eventually back to their plates.
Younger people, they still have the anxiety of learning new information. So when we teach them when they are young, they are able to grasp what we taught them in their heads.
Despite the transformative education, there has been unease among some parents. The lake has a history of boating accidents, and they fear for their children's safety. The headmasters responded by introducing mandatory swimming lessons, which also help to boost confidence. Challenges strengthen students, he says, by preparing them to overcome greater obstacles, even those as demanding as climate change mitigation.
We head west now to Mali, the Sahel region. Now, key challenges here are drought and food insecurity. The conflict in the north makes things worse. In the south, competition for natural resources has long caused tensions between different communities. Now, one local resident has come up with a simple invention to help. Here's this week's Doing Your Bit.
These old water canisters have been repurposed. Cut in half and then perforated, they're filled with sprouted seeds. Here in Yanfolila in southern Mali, Barry Sidebe created the soil-less crop system to feed his livestock. We put the corn seeds in a bucket. After 24 hours in water, they start to germinate. After that, they're put in the perforated canisters. The containers are then placed on shelves and watered for a week, and then the fodder is ready. The system reduces tensions between farmers and animal herders. Livestock is less likely to invade cropland in search of food. It's good for the environment because we don't have to cut down trees to grow crops. It allows us to live in harmony with the farmers and market gardeners. Now, no one complains about our animals being in their fields. It's a serious issue with arguments between herders and farmers, sometimes resulting in deadly conflict. The root cause of these disputes is insufficient land. There are many conflicts linked to herders and farmers fighting over natural resources. Barry Sidibe's solution helps to preserve those resources. It provides a crop for feeding livestock, prevents conflicts, relieves pressure on the forest, and counteracts global warming. Barry Sidibe has plans to open his own butcher shop. For now, the meat from his livestock is sold to traders at the village market. Customers welcome his local organic solution. The meat really is of high quality, also because the animals are well fed.
Tunisia is another country facing worsening drought because of human-caused climate change. Wildfires are more frequent, which can have a devastating impact on the environment. Farmers in forest areas also lose their livelihoods. But a local startup is offering hope, and community volunteers are also pitching in to help.
It looks like a hidden camera for observing wildlife, but it's actually much more sophisticated. Nadir Sahli and his team are hanging up 10 devices with cameras that can detect fires early on. Over 300 hectares of forest are being monitored in Tunisia's northern Ras Jebel area. We're using artificial intelligence as a sensor. It can detect active sources of fire and predict future ones, too. We've built in a function that is similar to the human eye. It continuously monitors the area, and as soon as it detects a source of fire, the system alerts the relevant authorities directly. But right now, it's still in the test phase, so the information is only sent to the startup. These sensors enable us to monitor the condition of the forest and track its development throughout the year. This means we can create an intelligent map of the forest, showing which areas have a high fire risk, where plants and trees are especially dry. Tunisia is getting less rain overall and longer periods of drought. In the last decade, the amount of land scorched by fire was nearly 20 times higher than normal. Around a third of the country is still forested, and about 1 million people live in the forests. Right now, they and local foresters are just left to fight fires as they occur. Officials at the Ministry of Agriculture hope the AI fire prediction system could provide more protection in the future, especially as the forests are of major importance to Tunisia. The forest is a real asset for us, both nationally and economically, but also socially and in environmental terms. With 1 million people living in this ecosystem, it's our responsibility to guarantee them a safe place to live. The data from the cameras is analyzed at the startup's office in Bizerta. The company is also working on the next step, a system to quickly inform foresters of any fires. We're currently in the process of developing a mobile app to simplify the work of the foresters. At our head office, we'll put the latest information directly into the app, which the foresters can then access either on their computer or cell phone. While they work to protect the remaining forest, others are focused on replacing what's been lost. Since 2017, the association Les Amis du Cap has been planting trees in the northern regions of Kef, Zarouane, and Jendouba, where there have been many fires. The volunteers plant carob trees as they are resilient and require little water. Forestry researcher Abdelhamid Khaldi is urging the authorities to support these initiatives. We're encouraging the Forestry Administration to plant more carob trees to reforest these areas. These trees are important for the environment. They're heat resistant and good for the economy too. But right now, the Forestry Department is more focused on the new AI project. It's not just about reacting to fires more quickly, but also identifying potential sources of fire before they start. To do this, it incorporates meteorological data and then calculates which areas are especially at risk. In areas where you have strong winds, we also look at how dry and flammable the conditions are. We then analyze these parameters to determine whether it's a risk area or not. The pilot project with the Forestry Department is still in its infancy. If it's successful, the authorities hope to equip larger forest areas with the AI sensors. This would make the rangers' work easier and protect the forests in the long term.
Well, we wish them the best of luck with that. Now we're crossing over to Northern Europe, where community volunteers have choked up a success story with baby seals. Now, seals are not only super cute, they also play a key role in the marine ecosystem. Now, the problem is the local environment there is not always friendly for their offspring, who struggle to survive without a helping hand.
Jan Wilkanowski is on a rescue mission. Hey, get away! Get away from it! Here on the Polish Baltic Coast, tourists have found a baby seal. Jan is one of 200 volunteers on WWF's Blue Patrol. He checks on the seal's state of health, reporting back to the local seal station. Dehydrated, malnourished, and injured in the face. The seal is only a few weeks old and completely exhausted. Without help, its chances of survival are slim. It's the second baby seal that Jan has had to rescue this week alone. That's because in spring, mother seals leave their pups. But not all of them can fend for themselves. We'll hand the seal over to the station and probably visit her in a few days. I hope that in a few weeks she can return to the Baltic. Jan's passion for seals stems from the unique environment on his doorstep. Gdansk Bay, where the Vistula River meets the Baltic. Oh look, our first seal already. She's hunting right now, so we're bound to see more in a moment, I hope. We're on our way to the Seals Islands. We never know what awaits us there. Robert Boracia regularly brings tourists here on his boat. It's the only place in Poland where you can see seals in their natural habitat. Just 50 years ago, seals were hunted here, almost to extinction. But thanks to protection measures and volunteers like Jan, the seal population in the Baltic has stabilised. When we talk about the seal's situation, we should also consider the fact that there are fewer and fewer places for them to rest and give birth. There's still lots to do, Jan tells us. Every pup counts. We're at Poland's only seal sanctuary, on the Hel Peninsula. We've come to check in on Wielbłąd, the seal pup we found with Jan. How's my seal doing? Wielbłąd arrived 3 days ago with a very high fever. We gave him medication, which lowered his temperature and stabilised him. The next day, he was given water with electrolytes. His condition is stable, but we're being cautious with our prognosis. We can go over, but we have to be really quiet. Jan's hoping for a quick recovery, so that by summer, little Wielbłąd can take to the waves of the Baltic once more.
Let's come back to Africa now. Cotton is a natural fiber that is grown across the continent, but it's not that sustainable as it needs a lot of water to grow. In a remote part of Senegal, around 200 women have joined forces to revive a local cotton-like crop that requires very little water. For centuries, it was used for making fabric. Now it's making a comeback and has even debuted in the art world.
The spirit that protects the house. That's the name of this crocheted sculpture that exhibited at the Dakar Art Biennale in late 2024. It's the work of artist Fatim Soumaré and women from 5 Senegalese villages. Hundreds of hands were involved in weaving and crocheting this work. That is what gives it its scale and impact. The idea is that visitors can step under the installation to engage in a dialogue with the space and with the installation. We traveled to the place where the sculpture was made, around 150 kilometers south of Senegal's capital. The Sine Saloum Delta is a vast labyrinth of water channels and islands. In the village of Marloge, women have been spinning a locally grown cotton for generations. The traditional fale thread is made by hand. Fatim Soumaré has revived this almost forgotten craft. She founded the Fale Collective, providing new equipment, including so-called échevadors, to straighten and wind the thread into bundles once it's been spun. The women earn the equivalent of 10 euros by spinning 1 kg of cotton. This work feeds us and our children. Even if it's just for water, it helps us survive. I want this work to continue. This is the end product that we receive in the workshop when we go to the village to collect these materials. These are magnificent textiles, and as you can see, they vary depending on the hand that spun it. In the Sine Saloum Delta, the plant grows in salty soil where it's able to thrive. The wild cotton requires no artificial irrigation, no fertilizer or chemicals. Unlike industrial cotton, which grows in monocultures and devours vast amounts of water, this plant has adapted to the harsh climate. This cotton has been here since the time of our ancestors. When I was young, our parents took us to the fields to harvest it. Our grandfathers taught us how to pick the cotton. They then softened it with tools and spun it into thread, which they wove into a loincloth. These loincloths are used for traditional weddings, circumcisions, and accompany our dead to their final resting place. The wild cotton is studied at the University of Sheikh Anta Diop in Dakar. Plant biologist Mustafa Sagna says the species reproduces by creating fibers that envelop the seeds, ensuring they're carried away by the wind or passing animals. In fact, when any species produces fiber, that fiber is primarily meant for the purpose of survival. Of course, we use it for other purposes, but this fiber is basically what allows the species to spread in its natural environment. The women are now trying to plant the wild cotton near their villages. The yarn is processed in the Fele Cooperative Studio. The carpets, cushions, and other pieces designed here are not yet made entirely from the hand-spun organic cotton. Harvesting fale on the remote islands is laborious and expensive. Each roll of fale yarn involves a lot of work by hand. As yet, we can't harvest enough fibers from this cotton plant to use it for our creations fully. But little by little, we are making progress. We now have a few hand-spun spools of brown cotton. The wild cotton offers another advantage. It makes the soil more fertile. In 2023, women from the Fale Cooperative started an experiment. They planted 200 seedlings on 3 hectares of salt-encrusted land. Only a few survived, but the impact was huge. For the first time in decades, they were able to grow rice there again. Now, unusually tall wild grass has taken over the fields. This was a deserted area with very salty soil. We started by watering the land and planting small cotton seedlings, which we were told would help reduce the salinity levels. As the soil improved, we planted rice. Now, thanks to God, the salt levels have dropped significantly. Fatim Soumaré has always loved textiles. Her mother used to dye fabrics for a living. Today, she's weaving a new sculpture, and not just with any yarn. I know where it comes from. I know its story, the story of the one who spun it. I'm carrying on this tradition, weaving myself into a collective practice. With every thread, she continues the history of the Fale textile craftswoman, the legacy of thousands of hands.
Another great example of people working together for the benefit of the community and environment. We are all more powerful than we realize. I hope today's show has inspired you. If so, why not write to us at echo@dw.com. I'm Malama Mukonde in Lusaka, Zambia. See you next time.
If you're looking for more inspiring stories, just search for Eco Africa online. I'm Chris Lems in Lagos, Nigeria. Thanks for watching, and to join us again next time.